India is one of the world's most diverse travel destinations, with a landscape and culture that change noticeably from region to region. It covers more than 3 million square kilometers and includes several distinct environments: high-altitude mountain zones, dense forests, fertile river plains, arid deserts, long coastlines, and tropical backwaters. These variations influence local languages, foods, architectural styles, and day-to-day lifestyles, making the country highly dynamic for travelers who want detailed, first-hand exploration. This documentary focuses on presenting accurate, practical information about some of India's most significant places. The content is structured to give viewers a clear picture of why each location matters. India's history spans thousands of years, and many of its ancient sites remain active components of modern life. Visitors can observe old traditions, religious practices, and historic structures alongside contemporary developments such as growing cities, improved transport networks, and expanding tourism services. India's cultural landscape is equally varied. Hundreds of languages are spoken, and numerous communities follow their own customs and forms of art. Major world religions originate here, and their influence can be seen in temples, mosques, monasteries, and other sites that continue to function as important cultural centers. For viewers interested in heritage, India offers an unusually wide range of material to study. Its climate also changes significantly by region. Northern areas experience cold winters and snowfall, while western regions include large desert zones with extremely dry conditions. Southern India maintains warm temperatures year-round, with coastal environments and green hill regions. The northeast features heavy rainfall, dense vegetation, and distinct cultural identities that differ from the rest of the country. These differences provide travelers with many types of experiences within one nation. The purpose of this documentary is to give viewers a reliable and structured understanding of India's most notable destinations. The narration avoids exaggerated or symbolic descriptions and focuses instead on direct observations. What each place looks like, what its main features are, how it developed historically, and what visitors can expect during travel. This approach provides a practical overview suitable for anyone planning a trip or studying the region. If you find this guide helpful, please support the channel by liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications. Your support allows us to continue producing detailed travel documentaries for viewers around the world. India is often described as a nation of contrasts, but that phrase barely covers the depth of difference found across this subcontinent, stretching from the icy summits of the northern mountain ranges to the warm tropical shores in the south. The country's landscapes shift constantly, and with each shift comes a different way of life. Travelers arriving here for the first time usually notice how quickly the surroundings change. One region blends into another, bringing new languages, new customs, and new architectural styles. This variety is what draws millions of visitors every year, each seeking to understand how such a vast country continues to function with a sense of unity, despite its many layers. To begin exploring India's wonders, it is necessary to travel to places that symbolize important ideas in the nation's identity. One of those places stands along the banks of a major river in Western India. Monument, built not simply as a tourist attraction, but as a reminder of a historical figure whose influence shaped the modern nation. This is the Statue of Unity, a monumental structure dedicated to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, often called the Iron Man of India. Patel played a defining role in the merging of the princely states after independence. Before his efforts, the country was scattered into hundreds of territories ruled by local leaders. Patel negotiated tirelessly, working to unite these regions into a single administrative framework. The monument built in his honor rises above the landscape as a visual representation of the idea of national integration. The structure itself reflects advanced engineering. Designers planned it to withstand extremely strong winds and high-intensity earthquakes common to the region. This level of structural stability ensures that the monument will remain secure for generations, symbolizing Patel's firmness during a period when the nation required steady leadership. Surrounding the statue is a carefully organized visitor complex, with pathways, exhibition halls, and viewing platforms that help travelers understand the political history behind the figure it commemorates. Leaving Western India behind, the journey continues southward to a very different environment, one built not around a political leader, but around an experiment in global community living. On the eastern coast lies a township conceived in the late 1960s with a specific purpose: to create a space where individuals from all continents could live and work together without the divisions of nationality, language, or religion. This settlement is Auroville. Auroville was founded by a spiritual figure, commonly known as the Mother, and its central idea is cooperation. The township does not operate like a typical city. Instead, it functions as a shared living experiment focused on learning, sustainable lifestyles, and cultural exchange. Different zones of the township are dedicated to education, environment, arts, and research. The most recognizable feature is the Matrimandir, a spherical golden structure at the center of the township that serves as a place for quiet reflection rather than a conventional temple. Visitors often describe Auroville as a calm space where people from many countries interact without formal barriers. Heading north from here, the terrain shifts dramatically. The air becomes thinner, the climate cooler, and the mountains begin to dominate the horizon. In the high altitudes of the Ladakh region rests a monastery with a long history and a distinctive design. Its foundation dates back to the late 16th century, and its location standing atop a rocky outcrop above the Indus River valley gave it natural defensive advantages. This is Stakna Gompa, one of the significant Buddhist monasteries in the region. Stakna Gompa's position on a solitary rock is not accidental. Monasteries built in this way were better protected from potential invasions and served as secure centers for Buddhist learning. The interiors of the monastery contain ancient murals, thankas, and statues that depict various Buddhist legends and teachings. Many of the artworks inside have survived for centuries, maintained by generations of monks who live and study within the settlement. Travelers who visit often note the calmness of the surrounding landscape, where little sound breaks the silence except the wind moving through the valley. Descending from the cold heights of Ladakh, the landscape turns green as the journey moves to the southwestern state of Kerala. In the hills surrounding the town of Munnar lie some of the largest tea plantations in the country. These estates were first developed more than a century ago, and since then they have grown into an important sector of India's tea industry. The plantations are notable for their appearance. Long rows of bright green tea bushes covering the hillsides in symmetrical patterns. The cool climate and frequent rainfall create ideal conditions for growing tea. Many of the workers maintaining these plantations are women who have become experts at plucking the most suitable tea leaves. They perform their work with precision, selecting only the top 2 leaves and the bud, an essential step in producing high-quality tea. The tea processed in the region is predominantly black tea, known for its strong flavor and pleasant aroma. Beyond the cultivated estates lies another remarkable feature of Kerala, the backwaters. This interconnected network of lagoons, rivers, and narrow channels stretches for many kilometers, forming a unique ecosystem. Local communities depend on these waterways for transportation, fishing, and farming. Life along the backwaters follows a slower rhythm. Visitors often travel through the region on traditional wooden houseboats, observing daily activities along the shoreline, residents washing clothes, children playing near the water, and fishermen casting nets with practiced skill. The backwaters support a diversity of wildlife, including fish, amphibians, and various bird species. The vegetation is just as varied, with palm trees, tropical plants, and wetlands forming the natural boundary of the waterways. The area has become an important part of Kerala's tourism, while also remaining a functional living environment for local residents. Continuing northward, the next significant destination is the historic city of Gwalior in central India. Overlooking the city is Gwalior Fort, a massive hilltop structure that has witnessed centuries of political change. Built originally in the 8th century, the fort later came under the control of multiple dynasties. Each new ruler contributed modifications, resulting in a complex architectural landscape that reflects different periods of Indian history. The position of the fort gave it a strategic military advantage, allowing rulers to monitor surrounding regions and defend against attacks. Within its walls are palaces, temples, and reservoirs that reveal the lifestyle of the periods in which they were constructed. The fort has also played a role in several historical conflicts, making it a key site for understanding the shifting political powers of central India. Southwest of Gwalior, in the desert state of Rajasthan, sits another important site, Gadsazar Lake in Jaisalmer. This man-made lake was constructed in the 14th century to provide water to the city and surrounding areas. Approaching the lake, visitors pass through a traditional gateway that opens to calm waters reflecting the decorative structures built along its edges. These include small temples, pavilions, and carved archways made from the region's distinctive golden sandstone. The lake has historically served as a vital source of water in an arid region, and it remains a gathering place for wildlife and birds. The structures around the lake demonstrate the stone carving skill of artisans from earlier centuries, and they contribute to Jaisalmer's reputation as the Golden City. Not far from here lies another extraordinary heritage site, Khajuraho. Built between the 9th and 11th centuries by the Chandela dynasty, the temple complex is renowned for its detailed carvings. The walls of the temples depict religious scenes, figures from mythology, and images of everyday life. Although the site is often recognized for its carvings related to human intimacy, these sculptures represent only a portion of the artwork. The majority of carvings highlight cultural activities, spiritual themes, and social interactions of the time. Originally, there were 85 temples in the complex, but only 20 remain today. These structures were built using a unique technique that allowed stones to interlock without mortar. This method has given the temples remarkable stability over centuries of weathering. Leaving Khajuraho behind, the route continues further south to the Western Ghats, one of the world's oldest mountain ranges. Formed nearly 150 million years ago, these mountains stretch along India's southwestern edge and significantly influence the region's monsoon patterns. The Ghats are also recognized for their biodiversity. Numerous plant and animal species found here exist nowhere else in the world. Throughout history, the passes through these mountains served as important trade routes, linking coastal communities with inland settlements. Although modern roads have replaced many of these old paths, archaeologists continue to study them for insights into earlier forms of travel and commerce in the region. The final part of this section leads to the small coastal state of Goa. Despite being India's smallest state, Goa attracts travelers from around the world due to its long stretches of beaches along the Arabian Sea. The shoreline is lined with palm trees, light sand, and clear waters that support various marine species. Fishing is a major activity, and many coastal villages rely on the sea for their livelihood. Among the beaches of Goa, Arambol stands out for its natural rock formations that rise along the shoreline. These features add visual interest and have become popular spots for watching sunsets. The beach attracts visitors looking for quiet, scenic surroundings, and is also known for occasional sightings of dolphins that swim close to shore. India's landscape continues to shift as we move toward regions shaped by extreme terrain, old trade networks, and ancient kingdoms. In this section, the journey introduces locations defined by their endurance, places that survived environmental challenges, political transitions, and centuries of cultural change. These sites offer a closer look at how communities adapted to harsh environments, maintained tradition, and shaped distinctive architectural styles over long periods of time. The exploration begins in the northwestern part of the country, in a landscape dominated by sand dunes and harsh sunlight. This is the Thar Desert, often referred to as the Great Indian Desert. The region developed over millions of years, shaped by natural forces such as wind erosion and shifting sediment. Although rainfall is scarce, the desert supports a surprising range of plants and animals, including the endangered Great Indian Bustard and the swift-moving chinkara, a type of gazelle that has adapted well to the dry conditions. One of the most revealing facts about the Thar is its population density. Despite the limited water supply, the desert is known as the world's most densely inhabited desert, with more than 80 people living within every square mile. Many communities rely on traditional methods of water collection, farming, and livestock care, proving that humans have learned to survive and thrive in this challenging environment. Towns, villages, and forts across the desert stand as reminders of the region's long history of resilience. Moving south into the central part of India, the next destination highlights the architectural legacy of the Mughal period. This is Bhuwara, a historical site once sustained by a large reservoir built during the 16th century. The name Bhuwara translates to Big Garden, referring to the extensive landscaped area that once flourished here due to a complex water management system. The site contains several cenotaphs monuments built in honor of rulers constructed using a blend of Islamic and Rajput design elements. Carved pillars, detailed arches, and stone ornamentation show the craftsmanship of the era. The cenotaphs were built over many generations, demonstrating a continued tradition of honoring leadership and family lineage. The structures not only served ceremonial purposes but also formed part of the region's social fabric, representing stability during a period marked by political change. The narrative continues with another monument connected to the later years of the Mughal Empire. Safdarjung's tomb in Delhi was commissioned in the mid-18th century by the son of a powerful statesman who played a crucial role during the empire's declining phase. The tomb was built to display respect for his father, combining several architectural ideas of the time, including large domes, symmetrical gardens, and polished sandstone facades. One interesting note about the tomb is its unexpected appearance in modern film history. In the early 2010s, a Hollywood production used the monument as a filming location, bringing international attention to a structure that is often overlooked compared to Delhi's larger attractions. The tomb remains an example of late Mughal architecture and is often noted by visitors for its peaceful atmosphere. From Delhi, the journey climbs again toward the northern mountains, where the Spiti Valley stretches across isolated parts of the Himalayas. This remote region stays snowbound for much of the year and can only be accessed during the summer months through steep mountain roads. The terrain is rugged and mostly barren, with rock formations, narrow passes, and open plateaus. Spiti is home to monasteries that preserve Buddhist culture and education, some dating back several centuries. Key Monastery, one of the most prominent, sits atop a hill that overlooks the valley. Its location served both religious and defensive functions, allowing monks to study in relative safety. Inside the monastery are rooms filled with ancient manuscripts, thankas, and sculptures that are carefully maintained by resident monks. Traveling through this region is challenging because certain mountain roads are considered among the most dangerous in the world. Sharp curves, steep drops, and narrow paths require experienced drivers and slow movement. Yet the valley attracts travelers interested in remote locations and traditional mountain culture. Close to Spiti lies another natural site of significance, Jogini Waterfall. Situated near the village of Vashisht, the waterfall holds cultural importance due to local beliefs surrounding spirit beings associated with the area. The water descends from high cliffs and collects in small pools before flowing toward the Beas River. Unlike the stark environment of Spiti, the surroundings of Jogini Waterfall are green and shaded, forming a stark contrast to the harsher landscapes nearby. The site is often visited by locals and travelers seeking a quiet, natural environment. Heading southwest, the route leads to Rajasthan once again, where Mehrangarh Fort rises above the city of Jodhpur. Built in the 15th century by Rao Jadhar, the founder of Jodhpur, the fort is known for its massive stone walls that appear to grow directly from the rocky hill beneath them. The structure endured numerous battles and the extreme climate of the region, making it one of the most impressive surviving forts in India. The interior of Mehrangarh Fort contains palaces with detailed carvings, painted murals, and large courtyards. The contrast between the strong outer walls and the delicate interior architecture highlights the dual role the fort played, both defensive stronghold and royal residence. Visitors entering the fort follow pathways lined with historical artifacts, armor displays, and preserved rooms that recreate life in earlier centuries. Not far from the fort is the Jaswant Thada, a memorial constructed in the late 19th century, built entirely from thin sheets of white marble. The structure glows when sunlight passes through the stone. The design includes domes, carved pillars, and lattice screens. The site functions both as a royal cenotaph and as a tranquil resting place overlooking a lake. South of Rajasthan, the landscape transitions into the Deccan Plateau, where the ancient ruins of Hampi lie, spread across a rocky terrain. Once the capital of the Vijayanagara Empire, Hampi between the 14th and 16th centuries was a major commercial and cultural center. Its ruins cover a large area and include temples, market streets, water tanks, and palace foundations. The fall of the empire in the year 1565 marked the beginning of Hampi's decline, but many of its architectural remains still stand today. Scholars study the layout and construction of these structures to understand the economy, religion, and social system of the empire. Travelers often note how the boulder-filled landscape creates a striking setting for the ruins, giving the impression of an open-air historical museum. From Hampi, the journey turns north toward Jaipur, where Jal Mahalofan, called the Water Palace, rests in the middle of Man Sagar Lake. Built in the 18th century, the structure appears to float on the surface of the water. Although it has 5 levels, 4 of them remain submerged when the lake is full, creating a distinct visual effect. Originally, the palace stood completely above ground, but later water management changes caused the lower floors to flood permanently. Despite being partially underwater for centuries, the structure remains stable due to thick stone walls designed to withstand moisture. Travelers visiting the lake often view the palace from the shoreline, observing how the calm water reflects the building. Not far from the lake lies Udaipur, where the city palace complex stands beside Lake Piccola. This palace was built gradually over nearly 4 centuries by 22 generations of rulers. Each new ruler added expansions, resulting in a diverse architectural style that blends seamlessly into one unified structure. The palace includes courtyards, balconies, gardens, and halls decorated with glasswork, mosaics, marble, and rare paintings. Among the most notable sections is the Shish Mahal, also known as the Palace of Mirrors, where walls are lined with mirrored tiles that create a bright, reflective effect when illuminated by lamps or sunlight. Lake Piccola itself is an artificial freshwater lake created for irrigation and water supply. The lake also enhances the appearance of the palace, forming a scenic border that contributes to Udaipur's reputation as one of India's most visually distinct cities. The journey concludes in southern India, where the Jatayu Earth Center features the world's largest bird sculpture. Representing Jatayu from the Ramayana, the sculpture depicts the moment the legendary bird fell after attempting to protect Sita. The site is dedicated to the safety and dignity of women, connecting an ancient story to modern concerns. The sculpture rests atop a rocky hill accessible by cable car and walkways, and it has become a major attraction for visitors interested in art and mythology. The next phase of this journey focuses on regions where natural formations, engineering achievements, and long-established cultural practices intersect. These areas show how geography influences daily life and how human design responds to challenges presented by rivers, mountains, and dense forests. Each location in this section provides insight into the relationship between people and their environment, offering a clearer understanding of India's landscape and historical development. The route begins in the northeastern part of the country, where the state of Meghalaya receives some of the highest rainfall on Earth. This heavy precipitation shapes the local terrain, producing deep valleys, fast-moving streams, and layered vegetation. Within this environment, the Kosi people developed an unusual but highly effective form of infrastructure: living root bridges. These structures are created by carefully guiding the aerial roots of rubber fig trees across rivers. Over decades, the roots strengthen and interlock, gradually forming bridges capable of supporting many people at once. Some of these bridges are believed to be more than 100 years old. Unlike conventional construction, they grow stronger with age. The most well-known example is the double-decker living root bridge near the village of Nongrayat. This structure has 2 levels, each functioning as a separate crossing. Reaching the village requires descending several thousand stone steps maintained by local residents, making the walk physically demanding but revealing the region's rugged terrain. From Meghalaya, the journey turns westward to the state of Assam, where Kaziranga National Park stretches across a floodplain created by the Brahmaputra River. The park is internationally recognized due to its conservation success. It is home to the world's largest population of the Indian one-horned rhinoceros, a species that once approached extinction. Decades of focused protection allowed the rhino population to recover significantly. Kaziranga also hosts tigers, wild buffalo, swamp deer, river dolphins, elephants, and hundreds of bird species. The landscape includes tall elephant grass, wetlands, and areas of dense forest. Seasonal flooding plays a major role in shaping the ecosystem. During the monsoon season, sections of the park fill with water, forcing animals to move toward higher ground. This natural cycle supports nutrient distribution and long-term ecological balance. Park authorities monitor animal movement closely and use elevated shelters and road crossings to reduce the risk to wildlife during floods. Continuing east, the route reaches Arunachal Pradesh, a state defined by high mountains, narrow passes, and dense forest. One of its most significant cultural centers is Tawang Monastery, a structure established in the 17th century. It is one of the largest monasteries belonging to the Gelug school of Tibetan Buddhism. The complex includes residential quarters, assembly halls, storage rooms for scrolls, and a library containing old manuscripts. The monastery sits at an elevation of nearly 10,000 feet above sea level, overlooking a valley framed by snow-covered peaks. Its strategic location once made it a center for trade routes connecting Tibet and the Indian plains. The internal layout reflects both religious and practical needs. Large meeting halls accommodate gatherings, while smaller rooms hold ritual items and texts. Visitors frequently note the scale of the structure and the calm atmosphere created by its isolated setting. From the Himalayan foothills, the journey moves toward the Bay of Bengal, where the Sundarbans form the largest mangrove forest in the world. This environment is shaped by the interaction of river sediment, seawater, and tidal patterns. The region serves as a protected area for many species, including the Royal Bengal tiger. Mangrove trees have specialized root systems that allow them to survive in saltwater, making them essential for stabilizing the coastline and reducing storm impact. The Sundarbans are difficult to navigate due to shifting channels, tidal currents, and thick vegetation. Many communities live along the forest's edge, relying on fishing, honey collection, and small-scale agriculture. Strict regulations limit human activity inside the protected zone to reduce disturbance to wildlife. Rangers monitor the area by boat and maintain communication towers to improve safety in this remote environment. Traveling west along the coast, the next destination is the city of Chennai in Tamil Nadu, known for its long beachfront and distinctive cultural institutions. Marina Beach extends over several miles and functions as an open public space used daily by thousands of residents. The urban coastline becomes especially active during early morning and evening hours, when the temperature is more comfortable. The beach also plays a role in weather impact management, acting as a natural buffer during storm surges in the Bay of Bengal. Chennai is also known for its classical arts, especially Bharatanatyam dance and Carnatic music. Numerous halls, schools, and academies across the city support performances throughout the year. Visitors interested in cultural study often spend time in this region to attend concerts, observe rehearsals, and participate in workshops. Moving inland, the next location is the ancient city of Kanchipuram, sometimes referred to as one of the 7 sacred cities of Hinduism. It contains numerous temples built over a period of many centuries. Each temple reflects a different phase of South Indian architecture. The Ekambreswara Temple, one of the largest, covers a vast area and includes a tower that rises to significant height. Other notable structures include the Kailasanathar Temple, known for its stone carvings and historical value. Kanchipuram is also recognized for its silk weaving industry. The city's weavers produce hand-woven silk saris using techniques passed down through generations. The process involves preparing silk threads, dyeing them in various colors, and weaving them on traditional looms. Each sari can require several weeks of work, depending on the complexity of the design. The route continues westward into Karnataka, where the Western Ghats rise sharply into mountains covered with forests, plantations, and streams. This mountain range is classified as one of the world's major biodiversity hotspots. The region includes protected areas such as the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve and Nagarhole National Park. Elephants, tigers, leopards, deer, and a wide range of bird species inhabit the forests. Coorg, also known as Kodagu, is one of the most visited districts in this region. It is known for its coffee plantations, cool climate, and forested hills. Many plantations allow visitors to observe the coffee production process, which includes harvesting berries, pulping, drying, and roasting. The terrain also supports trekking routes, river rafting, and small waterfalls formed during the monsoon season. From the Western Ghats, the journey moves toward Maharashtra, where the Ajanta and Ellora caves illustrate the evolution of religious art and architectural engineering. The Ajanta caves date back more than 2,000 years and include monasteries and prayer halls carved directly into the rock. They contain murals and sculptures that depict the life of the Buddha and various scenes from ancient society. The Ellora caves, built over several centuries, include structures related to Buddhism, Jainism, and Hinduism. The most remarkable is the Kailasa temple, carved from a single massive rock. Its scale and precision demonstrate advanced planning and labor organization. Engineers and artisans removed an estimated 200,000 tons of rock to create the structure, working from the top downward to prevent collapse. Visitors often comment on the structural accuracy and the extent of the artistic detail found throughout the complex. From central India, the route descends toward the western coast, where the state of Gujarat features the Rann of Kutch, one of the world's largest salt deserts. The terrain becomes completely white during the dry season, when water evaporates and leaves behind salt crystals. The Rann is divided into two parts, the Great Rann and the Little Rann. During monsoon months, sections of the desert flood, creating a temporary wetland that attracts migratory birds. Local communities known as the Kutchi people developed crafts that use mirrors, embroidery, and dyeing techniques. These crafts reflect centuries of cultural exchange due to trade routes passing through the region. During the winter months, the Rann hosts a cultural festival that includes traditional music, food, and crafts. Further south lies the metropolitan area of Mumbai, one of India's largest urban centers. The city occupies a group of islands connected over time through land reclamation. Mumbai's economic influence extends across the country due to its major port, financial district, and large entertainment industry. The Gateway of India, built during the early 20th century, marks the waterfront and serves as a landmark for visitors arriving by sea. Marine Drive, a long coastal road, forms a curved line along the Arabian Sea. In the evening, streetlights along the road create a pattern often described as resembling a necklace. Thousands of residents use the promenade daily for walking, exercising, and social gatherings. The coastline is also a point of concern during monsoon storms, and the city implements measures to manage wave impact. As the route concludes, the focus shifts to Goa, located south of Mumbai. Goa's coastline includes long beaches, small coves, and cliffs. The region was under Portuguese rule for more than 4 centuries, which influences the architecture found in churches, homes, and public buildings. The Basilica of Bom Jesus, a significant religious site, contains preserved relics and attracts visitors from many countries. Goa's economy depends heavily on tourism, fisheries, and agriculture. Rice fields, coconut plantations, and cashew cultivation are common across the state. The combination of beaches, historical areas, and outdoor activities creates a diverse travel environment. These destinations represent India's ecological variety, as well as the systems that sustain it. The areas covered here include coastal wetlands, river-based ecosystems, highland forests, and traditional craft centers that operate with methods that have changed very little over time. The journey begins in the southern part of India, where the backwaters of Kerala form an interconnected network of canals, lakes, and river channels. These waterways extend over hundreds of miles and support communities whose livelihoods depend on fishing, rice cultivation, and boat transport. The region's houseboats, known locally as ketavalams, were originally designed to carry goods such as rice and coconuts. Over the last few decades, many of them were converted into passenger vessels equipped with modern facilities. The boats glide slowly along narrow canals lined with coconut trees, small villages, and paddy fields. For visitors, the slow movement provides a clear view of daily routines such as net fishing, kwa rope making, and toddy tapping. Water levels in the backwaters are influenced by monsoon cycles. During heavy rainfall, the water rises and moves through a system of bunds and spillways. Local residents developed water management techniques over centuries, including polders similar to those found in certain European regions. These reclaimed areas allow cultivation below sea level. Locally known as Kyle lands, these fields require constant monitoring and repair, demonstrating the skill and coordination used in maintaining agricultural productivity in a water-based environment. From Kerala, the route turns inland into the Nilgiri Hills, which form part of the Western Ghats. This region contains dense forests, tea plantations, and significant wildlife reserves. The Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve, designated as India's first biosphere reserve, includes species such as the Nilgiri tar, lion-tailed macaque, and several endemic birds. The cooler climate and high elevation-shaped settlement patterns, with many communities located along slopes or plateaus. One notable town in this area is Ooty, originally developed during the 19th century as a hill station. The Ooty Botanical Garden maintains a large collection of plants from different regions, while tea estates display the full production process from plucking leaves to drying and packaging. The Nilgiri Mountain Railway, recognized for its engineering and historical value, continues to operate on steep gradients using a rack and pinion mechanism. The train moves at slow speed, allowing passengers to observe the terrain as it shifts from forest to open valley. Moving northward, the next stop is the state of Madhya Pradesh, often referred to as the heart of India because of its central location. Here, the Kanha National Park spans a large region of meadows, forests, and plateaus. The park gained international attention due to successful tiger conservation efforts. In addition to tigers, Kanha contains Barasingha deer, leopards, wild dogs, and numerous birds. The park's meadows were formed naturally through the movement of animals and seasonal flooding, and they remain essential for supporting grazing species. Kanha also implements strict rules to minimize human disturbance. Safari vehicles must follow designated routes, and guides receive training to maintain safe distances from animals. The management system relies on monitoring tiger populations through camera traps, track identification, and long-term observation. Officials coordinate with local communities to reduce conflict between wildlife and residents living near the park boundary. The route continues toward the northwestern state of Gujarat, where the city of Bhuj acts as a central hub for craftsmanship. The region is known for textiles, pottery, and metalwork. Several communities in the surrounding areas produce embroidery using mirror inlays, geometric patterns, and techniques developed through generations of practice. These textile styles differ from village to village, with each community specializing in a particular type of stitch or design. The nearby Kutch region is also known for its mud houses, called bungas. These circular structures are built to withstand earthquakes and extreme temperatures. The walls are coated with a mixture of clay and fine sand, while the interiors display decorative patterns created using colored earth and mirrors. The bunga's stability results from its symmetrical shape and low height, which allow it to absorb vibration during earthquakes. These architectural features demonstrate how local communities adapted to environmental risks using available materials. From the dry landscape of Kutch, the journey moves toward the foothills of the Himalayas once again, this time focusing on the state of Uttarakhand. The Corbett National Park, established in the early 20th century, is one of the oldest wildlife reserves in the country. It contains riverine forests, grasslands, and mountain slopes. The Ramganga River flows through the park, creating habitats for fish, crocodiles, and migratory birds. Corbett is divided into multiple zones to manage tourism and conservation. Some zones remain fully closed to visitors to allow wildlife unrestricted movement and breeding. The park is home to tigers, elephants, sloth bears, and several types of deer. The security measures include anti-poaching patrols, watchtowers, and the use of drones in certain seasons. Researchers track animal movement using radio collars, helping identify migration patterns and behavioral changes. Leaving the forests of Uttarakhand, the route enters the plains of Uttar Pradesh, where the city of Varanasi stands on the banks of the Ganges River. Considered one of the world's oldest continuously inhabited cities, Varanasi functions as a major religious, cultural, and educational center. The city's Ghat steps leading into the river serve multiple purposes such as bathing, ritual worship, and cremation. Boats travel along the river from early morning until late night, giving observers a view of the city's architecture and activity. The internal layout of Varanasi consists of narrow lanes, small shrines, and residential buildings packed closely together. The city contains numerous schools teaching classical music, Sanskrit, philosophy, and traditional crafts. For visitors studying cultural history, Varanasi offers a rare chance to observe living practices that have been maintained for centuries. Moving east, the next stop is the state of Bihar, where the ancient university site of Nalanda serves as evidence of India's long academic tradition. Nalanda functioned for many centuries as a major learning center for Buddhist studies, attracting students from regions such as China, Mongolia, Korea, and Southeast Asia. The ruins include monastery foundations, classrooms, meditation halls, and large libraries that once stored thousands of manuscripts. Excavations revealed evidence of advanced structural planning, including water drainage systems, brick construction techniques, and large courtyards that supported communal study. The decline of the university occurred over several centuries due to political changes and invasions, but its remains continue to be studied by archaeologists and historians. The nearby Nalanda Museum houses artifacts including sculptures, inscriptions, and terracotta items recovered from the site. The journey then travels toward the eastern coastline into the state of Odisha, where Chilika Lake forms the largest brackish water lagoon in the country. The lake supports a significant fishing industry and serves as a major stopover point for migratory birds. Species such as flamingos, herons, cranes, and gulls gather here during winter months. The water's salinity changes with the seasons due to the connection between the lake and the Bay of Bengal. Several islands within Chilika Such, as Nalabana and Kalaji, serve ecological and cultural functions. Nalabana Island is designated as a bird sanctuary and remains restricted during sensitive seasons. Kalajai Island holds a small temple frequently visited by fishermen before they go to sea. The lake's ecosystem depends on maintaining the balance between freshwater inflow and seawater exchange, and conservation programs focus on monitoring these variations. The final destination in this section is the Andaman and Nicobar region, located in the Bay of Bengal. These islands hold tropical rainforests, coral reefs, and indigenous communities. Many areas are categorized as restricted to protect vulnerable populations and preserve ecological stability. The island of Havelock, now officially named Swaraj Dweep, contains beaches known for clear water and extensive coral formations. Tourism is managed carefully, with regulations preventing overcrowding and protecting marine life. Scuba diving and snorkeling reveal coral structures, schools of fish, and underwater landscapes formed by volcanic rock. However, certain zones forbid diving to protect sensitive coral species. Rangers conduct inspections, and tour operators must follow environmental guidelines. The islands also contain mangrove forests that protect the coastline from erosion and support numerous species that rely on brackish water. The journey begins in the city of Agra at a structure widely regarded as one of the greatest architectural achievements in human history. The Taj Mahal. Completed in the mid-17th century, this mausoleum was commissioned by the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan to honor his late wife. Built primarily of white marble transported from quarries located hundreds of miles away, the monument integrates Persian, Indian, and Central Asian design elements. Artisans carved floral patterns into the stone, while inlay workers embedded semi-precious stones using a technique known as pietra dura. The dome reaches a height of more than 200 feet and maintains a symmetrical layout, with a reflecting pool positioned along its main approach. The structure changes appearance depending on sunlight conditions. At sunrise, it reflects a faint pink tone, and at dusk, it displays a warm golden shade. Despite centuries of exposure to pollution and weather, the monument remains stable due to its advanced foundation system, which includes deep wells filled with stone and mortar to manage soil movement near the Yamuna River. From Agra, the route turns north to Delhi, where the Red Fort stands as one of the most important symbols of India's political history. Constructed in the year 1648, the fort once served as the main residence of Mughal rulers. Its massive walls, made of red sandstone, extend for more than a mile and contain defensive towers and arched gateways. Inside the fort, the Diwanayam and Diwanakes illustrate the administrative structure of the Mughal court. The fort's role changed after independence, and it now hosts the annual Independence Day ceremony, during which the national flag is raised and the Prime Minister addresses the country. The fort's architectural plan includes gardens, water channels, and living quarters, arranged according to a strict hierarchy, demonstrating the power and organization of the empire at its peak. A short distance away stands the Quaytub Minor, one of the tallest brick minarets in the world. Constructed over several stages beginning in the 12th century, the tower rises more than 200 feet and tapers as it ascends. Its surface displays alternating fluted patterns and engraved verses. The surrounding complex contains the Quwwatul Islam Mosque and several ruined structures that illustrate the early phases of Indo-Islamic architecture. The iron pillar located within the complex, made of nearly pure iron, remains rust-free despite being more than 1,000 years old, making it a point of scientific interest. From Delhi, the path moves west into Rajasthan, a region known for its royal forts and palaces. In the city of Jaipur, the Hawa Mahal sits at a central intersection, easily recognizable by its honeycomb-like facade. Built in the 18th century, the structure includes hundreds of small windows that allowed royal women to observe street activities without being seen. The windows were positioned to create a steady airflow, producing a cooling effect during the hot months. The building's design combines Rajput and Islamic styles, utilizing red and pink sandstone sourced locally. Further up the hills overlooking Jaipur stands the Amber Fort. This fort demonstrates a different architectural approach, combining heavy exterior defenses with interior sections decorated using mirror work, colored glass, and painted panels. One particularly notable feature is the Sheesh Mahal, or Hall of Mirrors, where even a small light source produces a reflective effect across the entire room. Below the fort, a man-made lake supplied water to the palace system through a network of channels. The fort also contains an underground passage designed to move the royal family to nearby Jaigarh Fort during emergencies. Moving southward, the city of Udaipur introduces a different environment, shaped by lakes and surrounding hills. The city palace complex, constructed over a period of more than 400 years, represents contributions from 22 generations of rulers. Built of granite and marble, the palace overlooks Lake Piccola and includes courtyards, balconies, and gardens linked by narrow corridors. The interior features mirror mosaics, glass tiles, and wall paintings. Lake Piccola itself is artificial, originally created in the 14th century to provide water for surrounding communities. Several islands on the lake contain structures such as Jag Mandir, which served as a summer retreat and historically provided refuge for people seeking protection during political conflict. Rajasthan also includes one of the world's longest fortification systems. The walls of Kumbhalgarh Fort, built in the 15th century by Rana Kumbha, the wall extends for more than 22 miles, second only to the Great Wall of China. Within the walls lie hundreds of temples, most of them Jain and Hindu, and large reservoirs designed to collect rainwater. The fort's strategic position in the Aravalli Range allowed defenders to monitor movement across the region. From the deserts and hills of Rajasthan, the path shifts north to Punjab, where the Golden Temple in Amritsar functions as one of the most important centers of Sikh faith. The temple sits in the middle of a large water tank known as the Amrit Sarovar. Its upper sections are covered with sheets of real gold, creating a bright reflection during daylight. The temple has 4 entrances, symbolizing openness to people from all communities. Attached to the complex is the Langar, the world's largest free community kitchen, which prepares meals for tens of thousands of visitors every day. Volunteers manage the cooking, serving, and cleaning processes, demonstrating the principles of service and equality central to Sikh practice. Traveling south along the western coastline brings us to Mumbai, where the Gateway of India stands facing the Arabian Sea. Constructed to commemorate the arrival of King George V and Queen Mary, the structure combines Hindu and Islamic architectural elements. It later became a point of departure for British forces at the end of colonial rule, giving it dual historical symbolism. The arch is made of basalt stone and remains one of the city's most visited landmarks. Another major Mumbai landmark is the Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus, formerly known as Victoria Terminus. Completed in the late 19th century, the station displays Victorian Gothic architecture combined with Indian decorative motifs. It features domes, turrets, pointed arches, and a spacious central hall. It was one of the most expensive public buildings constructed during that time in India and stands today as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Heading southeast brings us to Tamil Nadu, home to remarkable examples of Dravidian architecture. The Meenakshi Temple in Madurai features towering Jupurams covered with thousands of sculpted figures representing deities, animals, and mythological scenes. The temple complex covers a vast area and contains multiple shrines, courtyards, and ritual halls. Each Jupuram is painted in bright colors, and the sculptures are refreshed regularly to maintain clarity of detail. The temple functions not only as a place of worship, but also as a center for cultural festivals, attended by large crowds every year. Along the coast of Tamil Nadu lies the Shore Temple at Mahabalipuram, one of the earliest stone temples in South India. Built in the 8th century using granite transported from nearby quarries. The temple faces the Bay of Bengal and served historically as a landmark for sailors navigating the coastline. The surrounding site includes rock-cut monuments, cave temples, and open-air panels illustrating stories from Hindu mythology. These structures demonstrate the transition from rock-cut to structural stone architecture in South India. From the southern coast, the route climbs back into the Himalayas for the final perspectives on India's natural and spiritual landscape. The Indian Himalayan range stretches across several northern states and includes peaks that rise more than 20,000 feet. The region contains pilgrimage routes, remote monasteries, and mountain villages shaped by severe climate and limited access. Rivers originating in the Himalayas supply water to millions of people across the plains. The mountains grow slightly taller each year due to tectonic activity, making them one of the most dynamic geological formations on Earth.